Welcome back to In the Oven with Adam and Brad.
What's up, y'all?
And by welcome back to Adam and Brad, I think it was Adam and Aubrey.
Yeah, last week it was. Welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, how was that?
It was okay, man. I thought it was going to be a little awkward. We were both kind of like, oh, no, who's going to, you fill a lot of the space, sometimes. And we did all right. Yeah, your wife got talkative. And so
yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm definitely the, obviously the extrovert in the relationship.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She's good, though, man. When that camera starts rolling, it was like, boop, and character.
Yeah, I've trained her well.
Yeah.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like she's been doing the social media thing for a while.
For a little while, huh? Yeah, you can tell.
But yeah, so she actually didn't tell me that much about it other than like I thought it would only be like 30 minutes because we wouldn't have anything to talk about, but we ended up talking for like the whole hour.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was good.
So
you'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I will when it launches, I think tomorrow, right? Yep. So, but I guess to fill you in, I was gone to Austin and, it was kind of like a business / leisure trip. I wanted to do business stuff. I also wanted to kind of just like get away for a little bit because Mama Jean was here. So if you've got coverage and you can get away without putting your wife in peril,
that's right.
Might as well
go
do
for
it
when you can.
So yeah, we went and we went to Austin, checked out Royal Blue Grocers that have our bites, which is really cool. They hadn't had them very long from what the guy was saying there because I asked him how they were selling, but he did tell me, I don't really know how they're moving, but we've got some bags in the back and they are good and we eat them like at the end of every shift. So that was promising to know that they have a whole grocery store. Yep. They could have like any product back there that they're snacking on.
They're snacking on our bites.
So
that's awesome.
I know the hardest part with our bites is going to get people to try them because everyone that's tried them have been like, oh wow.
Hands down, man. Yeah, they're so much better than there really is no next product. But if you were to go in frozen edible cookie dough bites type situation, yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's
and
nothing.
So, and I think people love just eating cookie dough. And so I think that you give them the chance to eat cookie dough and it's not the same cookie dough that they've been used to eating, right? So, I mean, gosh, I can't even count how many times I've had just chocolate chip cookie dough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whether I was making a chocolate chip cookie recipe
Scooping
or something, just eating some out or eating the dough itself. I've had chocolate chip cookie dough, but like our flavors are just a different kind of flavor. So people that texturally love that cookie dough taste, now you're getting like a whole plethora of flavors in a portable snack.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, I went, checked out Royal Blue Grocers, and then the next day we got to tour BPN's current headquarters and then the building that they're moving into. They're about 6 weeks out, I think is what they're saying. I don't know. To me, it looked like they're probably further out just because I've seen construction so much more. But I also know that all of a sudden things just start coming together at the end. But there was like no doors hung. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the last 6 weeks, like you have doors being hung. There's it takes 2 weeks to paint. Yeah. There was no paint.
Okay. How big was the facility though?
80,000 square feet. Yeah, 80,000 square feet. And I think the cool part is, so touring their old facility is like 50,000 square feet. But the difference is they're getting like an extra 10 feet in ceiling height at the new one in the warehouse. So yeah, and when you talk about that being able to pack another pallet up there, now you're not really getting 80,000 square feet. You're getting like even more, because you're getting all the square footage you currently had with an extra level above it, So it was really, really cool to see. And right now they're in like 3 different buildings. So they have one building that is kind of like their operations, customer service side of things. And then they have another building that is more like the gym, podcast studio, some offices over there. And then they have a third building that's like their entire content creation team. So yeah, it's like kind of like spread out.
It'd be nice having it under one roof.
Yeah, they're gonna have it one roof. Yeah. So it is really cool. They just built one story in the office side of things, so they have the ability to eventually like go to a second floor if they need to. Nice. So it's really cool. But yeah, it's just a lot of glass offices, a lot of light in there. Really cool stuff. Sad to see what they're leaving behind. Like they had a full on. We have apartment kitchen, but they built out a kitchen for content. So they had like these lights we have around us, like in the ceiling mounted and stuff. And I was like, Garrison, take notes, because they have all the piping and stuff up there and they just kind of mount it to the ceiling and then they can just do everything. So
clamp in wherever they want.
Yeah. It was really cool. To see all that. And then just, spending time with Nick, just being able to pick his brain. I met a girl named Hope who is there I guess account manager for Unify and those food distributors they're in, and then some direct accounts, like HEB is a direct account for them.
Okay.
And then she does all their events, so she has a pretty broad title,
robust job.
Yeah, and the events look cool. She came from Reebok, so she had some really cool background. But yeah, I got to pick her brain for a little while, and there's some things that I kind of already knew, but they just reinforced that. And then there's some things that I was like, oh, okay. And then Nick Bear, we were just talking. He gave me a book to read, and it's like the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And it's just like talking about building team around your executive team and stuff like that. So been reading through that book. But overall, good trip. Got to like I said, got to see our product in the wild. Got to meet with some friends. Got to get some relaxing time in Terry Black's barbecue and running and stuff like that.
Nice. So, what was your favorite place to eat?
So there was this little Mexican spot, this taqueria that was by our hotel. And we got in that night and we were just like, hey, what's something walking distance? And there was like, there's a Thai place. And then the guy was like, my favorite spot's this taco burrito spot. And I was like, okay, tell me about it. So he's like, you're going to go down here and you're going to go down an alley and you're going to see a sign that says tacos and you're going to go in there. And I will tell you, it was like the sketchiest experience of my life. Like for real, you're walking down an alley, like PF Chang's is right here and you're literally in an alley. Like there's trash and trash cans and dumpsters in this alley. And you see the sign that says like tacos and you go in and then there's like this little bar and there's like loud music playing and lights and stuff going on. And then a door that says tacos served here. And you open that door up and you feel like you're in the back of the kitchen because it's like the vent, there's a vent hood with tables under it where they've obviously like ripped it out and you can see their 2 like freezer and fridge doors.
Nice.
Like I could have opened them up and just walked into their fridge, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And then you have to round the corner. When you round the corner, it's just a vent hood with people that they have like a lot of the meat on like that Euro style thing, But yeah, I mean, we had burritos there and they were just rice, beans, the meat that you picked, onion, cilantro, salsa, and then you could get guacamole too on it. And that was the burrito, and they were phenomenal.
All right, y'all heard it. Back Alley Tacos, Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it's Taqueria de Diaz. It has 4.8 stars and like almost 1,000 reviews on Google. So
That's awesome.
It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Because people are very peculiar about their
are.
tacos, especially in Texas.
Yep.
So I'll have to send Andy some of the videos because we videoed like how to get into this place so that he could overlay it when I was describing it because it is an interesting situation. But no, really good. And then you have a trip coming up.
I do.
Is it next week?
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
This week.
All right.
Yeah. Cantrell annual boys trip. Me and my son. We're going to Dallas. Gonna do some Six Flags and I don't know, probably see the zoo and some other fun stuff. So he's stoked. I'm stoked.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a blast. And it's definitely I definitely enjoy like seeing you with Liam because it's, I'm looking forward to like
future, man.
The future of my son is that, I know that before your accident, y'all were doing like jujitsu together and I don't know if you're getting back into it yet.
Next month. I'm giving myself another month. My ankle's still a little jacked up.
If someone put you in a foot bar or something, they'd F you up.
Or even the foam mats really is kind of what's killing me is like the unstable surface. Yep. Obviously I don't want to go wrestle anybody on a hard surface, but I'm pretty good on like pavement, but like, Emerson's got that little tumbling mat and anytime I go to step across it or whatever, I'm like, oh gosh. So
paddleboarding would be your nemesis.
We took the kids to this big inflatable obstacle course they got here now, and I wanted to get out there so bad, but I knew I'd have a swollen ankle if I did.
It'd be so much pain.
Yeah.
But then, just seeing like some of the stuff that y'all are going to be able to do together, and like how he was talking about how he's looking forward to.
Well, it's a ton of fun, man, and like you know how it is, and obviously my situation with my dad different than yours, but we all wish we could have done things certain different ways or whatever. And so I've kind of had like a lifetime to think about that, but I think everybody has. And so, I just want to be around my son as much as possible, meet him wherever he is, whenever he's there. And so, we kind of do a boys trip and it's pretty much, within reason, whatever he wants to do. And so this will be fun.
Yeah. And, I guess to recap this weekend too, because I forgot to talk about that, is I did my first CrossFit competition.
Right.
And it went well until it didn't. And so the first event went really good. I had a really good time. In fact, like the fastest group was right around 5 minutes. So if everyone held a minute 40, you would be at 5 minutes. And I was a minute 48. So like
right there.
Yeah, right there in that group. And so yeah, I felt like I did really good on that. And then the next event, it was like 800-meter run on the assault runner. It was like a buy-in, and then you did 3 rounds. And obviously, like, I'm running right now, so I was excited about that part. We had one guy get on the runner, then I went on, then another guy got on the runner, then I went on again because they were like, hey, you've been running a lot, so like you can
Hold
run
it down.
twice.
Yeah.
So first runner, I was booking it. There's some video of me just flying at the end, getting that runner speed up. Jump off, the other person does it, I jump back on again, and we had to get to 800 meters. And I got on it like just over 600. And so I'm running, it gets to 7, like right around 740, 750, and I just feel like someone just all of a sudden dead legs me in the back of my hamstring, and I feel that like pull. Yep. And I was like, no. And you actually see in a video me like stumble like to grab, because like at first I wasn't, in your mind you're like, did I tear something or what did happened? I just like strain something?
What was that?
Yeah. And so when I realized that it like wasn't like I wasn't falling over torn muscle, I was like, okay, I'm going to just jog it out, get back off of this thing, and then kind of assess where I'm at. And I, in the video, you see me say, like, I pulled my hamstring, and I immediately went into, like, deadlifting right after that. I knew that I was warm, so that I probably wasn't going to do too much more damage to what I'd already done. And I knew the moment I stopped moving, it was going to get worse. So I felt like if I just, like, kept moving through this workout would be my best shot at, like, making it through this workout. But as soon as I finished that workout and started, like, walking off, it like just started like tightening up. And
you got all that adrenaline going, everything going to kind of amp you up. You got your team counting on you, so you can't stop. And then when they're like, and time, you're like, oh wait, I can't walk.
Yeah. And so I went and saw Dan Lamb, and he had like an electric thing there, and he was like doing the electric pulses on it. I don't know, but he did kind of like work on it a little bit. And then I literally like told them, I was like, I can't keep going. Like the marathon's more important to me. If I keep going, doing box jumps and all this stuff, I'm going to make it way worse. Yeah. And I have a goal of doing this marathon, and I don't want to like not even be able to do it. Right. Like I got my plane tickets and I paid for it. Like I'm going to do this marathon as long as I can walk.
That's right.
And so, I kind of just told him, I'm sorry. We were in 5th place. Could we have gotten in the top 3? Maybe. Definitely not with me injured. So I kind of was just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Good run, boys.
Yeah. And so they had someone sub in because they just couldn't podium after that, which they ended up in 5th. So we kind of just stayed in the same spot. I think Dan ended up squatting with them, and he squatted about what I would have squatted, truthfully. So we would have won the strength event, which really makes me sad because like I was excited to show out for the strength event.
Haha, CrossFitters, look how strong I am.
Yeah. But so I've cold plunged BPC 157 twice into my hamstring, and then I have some dry needling today that I'm going to get done, and some like massage work. I don't know. I mean, you probably understand this. Like I'm very discouraged right now. Yeah. I've been through a Achilles injury, an ankle injury, the flu, now my hamstring, and we're only I've done this for 10 weeks, and I feel like everything that could go wrong is going wrong. Yep. But I also said that like I'm going to push through this, and I'm going to try my best to still hit my goal. It'll only make it feel better when I do accomplish my goal that I had to overcome so much, It's
the tests along the way, man. Yeah. You're being tested. And, you're holding true to your goal. So that's good.
So I actually have taken Monday, Tuesday off. I said maybe this is a sign too that I just need to give my body a break. My HRV has been like really low for a few days. So I said, it's not going to kill me. I'm not going to lose muscle mass. I'm not going to lose cardio endurance. I'm just going to take this week off, rehab my my hamstring. Letty's birthday was, it was Monday. So like, just spend some more time with Letty and sleep in a little bit and kind of regather and move on.
Well, good.
So that's the plan. So I plan on.
You still got a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got time.
By Saturday, I hope to just be biking, even if it's just like even if it's not long, just slow biking just to get my legs moving. Same thing for Sunday. And then Monday, I want to go back to the gym and lift, and Tuesday be back to running. So we'll see. I mean, it just depends on the hamstring. Like I don't want to push it.
No,
because it'll get way worse. But I honestly, from the BPC 157 and stuff, I'm feeling a lot better.
And you're walking around on it, so you get blood flow and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's why also my legs are straight. It like really hurts to like bend it because like where it is on it's like the lower hamstring, like more of like your calf hamstring tie-in. That it just like in the car, in the chair. You saw me in the office chair yesterday. I was having to sit on the front because it puts pressure like right on that spot. So yeah, but I'm surviving. The worst part, honestly, was the drive home.
Oh, yeah.
Like driving, well, I drove an hour and a half and stopped in Destin because they took Letty to Destin. So she was so excited to see me. So also I was just like, probably should have never agreed to do this competition, but I felt like my friends needed me. But it's like Letty's birthday weekend and trying to do stuff for her birthday. So she was so excited that I was like there. Yep. And when she lit up like that, I was like, well, honestly, this is probably fine that I got hurt, you know?
Yep.
So
you got to hang out with your daughter.
Yeah. So, but we have some very fun stuff to go into today. I know that, you know, I don't know if it's on here, but the pyramid stuff, they've done that LiDAR underneath the pyramids now, and they found like these huge structures that are underneath the pyramid. So I feel like all the conspiracy theories on my feed are getting kicked back up again.
Oh yeah.
So I actually like watched a video this morning about flat Earth again.
Okay.
It was actually Luke Bessie was posting about it.
Okay.
He was saying that they were in Antarctica with some people, and they were watching the sun for 24 hours. But during that same time period, the sun was above his head in Oklahoma. So how was the sun above his head in the northern hemisphere and still visible in the southern hemisphere?
I need Neil deGrasse Tyson to explain it.
So people were trying to like draw it and explain it. And I mean, yeah, I even if you take it really far out, I think that it would be below the horizon of the southern hemisphere. So interesting to say the least, but yeah, I mean, I just love the conspiracy theories, you know, especially I know you showed me a bunch of the NASA stuff.
Oh yeah.
Where what he got,
decompression sickness.
Who was it?
Bert something, the head of the captain,
the
or
commander
of the
ISS.
Yeah.
He apparently got decompression sickness, and there's a phone call with a woman saying she's an hour out from being able to see them, but the closest hospital is in Spain.
Yeah.
Which is really, really weird. And also, like, I don't know if this stuff is true.
Yeah,
like,
you don't know what's true. You don't know if the phone call is true. You don't know anything's true. But this lady, sure enough, appears to be responding to NASA, saying that I'm stuck in traffic. I'm at least an hour out. And it's like, from space?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was interesting. So, you know, there's all kinds of theories that they're actually in water and they're underwater and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know. But we'll go ahead and kick off that with, did we go to the moon?
All right.
This one is heavy.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
The fake moon landing.
What?
I was contacted by NASA.
Okay.
And they were planning this fake moon landing. They wanted
But why did they have to fake it? Why?
Because it is impossible to get to the moon.
Went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
We all heard this. But
Yeah.
That's our boy Buzz.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've told you that, like, I always struggle with the fact of, like, I don't even have cell phone service in certain areas, but we somehow broadcasted, like, television back down.
Live.
Yeah, live.
Didn't even have to bring it back on tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Suspect.
But again, I know there are people that follow me that have siblings and all these people involved in space programs and stuff, and they get really offended by that. I'm not going to tell you that it didn't happen. I just am inquisitive. I've questions I'd like answered. And I think that there's nothing wrong with being inquisitive about things. I think when you mindly accept things for the truth because a bunch of people are saying, no, this is true, that's wrong. That's what happened during you-know-what virus, and everyone's like, you got to do this. And people are like, well, what? Why? What about this? And then people are like, you're an idiot. You don't
any topic that I've ever been, like, shamed or shy or been, like, forcibly shied away from that I just have questions about has always furthered my questions. And so that's been amongst them up there with all different kinds of stuff. And, of course, there's nowhere to get real research. And all these, videos that are made or research that have been done, usually there's a bunch of other crazy lunacies that are also tied to it, but who knows? Maybe they're not crazy lunacies. Maybe I've just been conditioned to think that some of these things are crazy lunacies. Like, I mean, even you brought up the pyramids. I've had tons of questions about what the pyramid was, and I was educated in school that very specifically down to how they were built, and they were dragged up these logs. They used logs to drag these things. Nobody knows. So don't teach me. Like, why did I learn that?
Right.
Like, why did I take up space? Why? It's so wild. And now they find there's these shafts that go down into the earth, and when you measure the totality of the height, it's taller than the Burj Khalifa. It's just underground.
Yeah, it's like 4 times taller than the pyramids themselves.
Yeah.
And then there's like these spiral things around them, and it's just like, I mean, all the time. I mean, we weren't taught in school like, oh yeah, we found all these vases and bowls and stuff that are perfectly circle, and we can't even machine them to that precision today.
Right.
But
people made them pounding rocks against other rocks.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that's where a lot of the distrust comes from, is that like we've been lied to with such straight faces, or when people actually didn't know and they're just like, no, this is how it is, that whenever people say things, you just get inquisitive of it.
Yep.
Because, I mean, I think I saw the log thing, and then I later saw them release the theory that they use like like ducks and like water and stuff like that to do it.
Sand, water drilling and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's like, if they understood like the physics required to do all of that, and they just happened to use natural resources, they still had the ability to control forces that we don't have the ability to control today.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, yeah, I know.
And then what were you talking about? The Machu Picchu, or what was it called?
Oh, Machu Picchu. Yeah, they've got running water all the way up the top of it. When you look at any of the structures and stuff, of course, I'm going off pictures and video. I've not been there, but yeah, they basically built these big aquifers or reservoirs or whatever that had, big pieces of earth, rock, or whatever in the middle, and they used the pressure of the water to drive it up these like tubes that were cut. How they were cut through the rock. I mean, they're not pipes laid on the side of the rock. They're cut all the way through the rock. It pushes water all the way up to the top. They can refill these things. They can divert rivers that are already coming down the mountain to send water right back up. And then, truthfully, and I know we've talked a little bit about this, the only thing that makes sense in my brain is that primitive humans, us, found either earlier civilization or something and just built on top of what they were already building.
Yeah.
So like when you look at like ancient Egypt versus like modern Egypt, you go from these huge megalithic stones, 40, 80, 100-ton stones from hundreds of miles away, to like kind of just local rocks that are just kind of like stacked up.
Right.
Still impressive, sure, but like not the same.
Right.
You go, yeah, I think 10,000, 100,000 slaves over 100 years could have built that, not that. Same with like, Peru and other areas where the stones look like they're melted into each other. I mean, like, they don't like fit like we would stack stones.
Like, even like Stonehenge.
Dude.
All that stuff from that far, like long ago.
And so I think we discovered it and was like, oh, this is cool. Let's build on top of it.
Yeah.
Or add to it or whatever.
Yeah. There's been 2. I saw a documentary where they were like finding all of these like ornate temples and stuff underground that they were built. And
the
like,
mud flood theory or whatever. So like the Great Flood, every indigenous culture has a Great Flood myth in their history. Christianity has one. Everybody has one. And so with lots of water comes lots of mud, dirt, and erosion. And so throughout lots of parts, any area that has, the people that have been there for a really long time, really old areas, they start excavating, they start digging down, the building structures start getting more ornate, little bit better built, different construction, not just materials, but different construction techniques altogether. Yeah. And then even a lot of major cities throughout, even modern major cities, when you look at how a lot of them are built, there appear to be built, we call them basements today, but it looks like ground level might have just increased. And now there's like weird columns. So it's like, why would you have 4 floors underground with like weird little windows that have like a column around it? And you could say, well, it's to let light in. Doesn't really let light in. Yeah. And so it makes a little more sense that they were built at ground level. And
it makes me like really want to like dig more into like the Old Testament, the Bible. Cause do you remember talking about them where they were trying to build a stairway to heaven in the Bible, and that's when he like cast out everyone and like created all the different languages and stuff is in the Bible, which I had to refresh myself because a lot of those are just stuff I remember from like Sunday school and things. But it really makes you think like, where was the flood, like the flood in the Bible in there? Because I was talking to Aubrey the other day. I said, Aubrey, imagine if everyone on the world died, but like you and a bunch of your immediate family members. I said, all the technology and everything that you have around you today would be adequate for you to continue operating it until it broke. Yeah. I said, but honestly, you wouldn't even know how to run a power grid to keep your power up and going.
Right.
Not to mention the deterioration of things would happen so quickly that you wouldn't be able to reproduce fast enough to like try to fix this stuff. So you would be back into the Stone Ages again. You would, potentially you'd be able to reverse engineer some of the stuff that you have, but like the more complex stuff, like computers, and all that stuff,
it'd be like a Book of Eli situation or whatever. Just the post-apocalyptic world. They don't go into it, but if a major event occurred that was catastrophic, everything that wasn't destroyed would still exist, but it would just slowly degrade. How are you going to get a part machined?
Right.
You got a forge running right now to like forge new parts. I mean, you just like your cars may run for a while, and then they won't.
Right, and then you'd have to steal, like it'd be Mad Max stealing parts from other cars.
Yeah,
to make
and then
things
eventually
work.
though it would all run out.
Right,
and you'd have to start over.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize like how significant that would be. I mean, you would be back to square one again. Like you would it would be very hard to reverse engineer stuff that people had at the level we have it at.
Yeah.
At the car engine level, maybe it would be easy to reverse engineer.
Yeah, you
some
could probably come back with some combustion, but maybe. The problem would be the people that would exist today know how to work with today's technology. We talked about that on like the Indian Technology Institute versus MIT or whatever. They're not teaching combustion engines at that level. They're not building like the little, Coke bottle size, how to keep it running. They're not teaching that. So, no, I think it'd be very difficult. I think everybody would be like too smart to do anything. Because like if you can't, just fire up the 3D printer. Nope. Well, then just let me pull up CAD. Nope. Get out your pencil if you have one. Otherwise, find a rock. Start chiseling it in the rock. Like depends on what level. But yeah, I mean, you'd be going off into an area where, man, I hope there's some really, really old heads still alive or something.
Yeah. So that to me is like what I always think about is like there is a potential in my mind that there's not aliens or whatever, but it's just like we were very technologically advanced and a world event happened where you wiped everyone out and you only have a few people left and you effectively have to start back over, especially through a flood, because if everything was ruined, then you have nothing to reverse engineer off of.
Yep. That's what they say about the Younger Dryas impact theory or whatever. Then like effectively a meteor hit, and that's what caused a lot of the flooding.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
And another thing too is like, let's talk about like Noah's Ark. Like everyone does it, this like wooden ark that he built, and he built it very fast for the size that it would have to be. Also, like, you just went up and were like, "Hey, animals, come in here, and I'm going to put you in cages." Like, it had to be a large ark with the ability to have like essentially, I feel like free reign through there. No animal, no giraffe or a lion like laid there for 40 days in some cage. I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't either, man. Way easier to store their DNA or their essence or whatever else. If that technology existed. They'd have a seed vault. I think it's in Norway, but like, I mean, effectively they would just need to do the same thing with species DNA. The seed vault's in an area that's permanently frozen. Countries from around the world can store seeds and stuff there. Andy's got it right there. It's built to literally outlast everything.
And it's just holding seeds in case you...
seeds for plant life. But I think, with as old as this thing is and as technologically advanced as this thing is, I think there would be a DNA vault that could hold the same thing for, mammals and whatever else. So,
yeah. All right. Well, next we're going to talk about what to do to make money. Advice from Gary Vee. Listen, I like Gary Vee. I think that he definitely has given a lot of practical advice, but I think that he's probably like a lot of people on social media that realizes that, you have to go so grandiose to get views nowadays.
He's run out of advice.
It goes. And a lot of his advice is like practical advice in the aspect of like, go to Facebook Marketplace, flip stuff, go to garage sales, try to buy stuff and make more money. It's just his advice is like work harder to make more money.
Yes.
Is kind of his advice. Hormozy's advice is get smarter to make more money.
Yes.
But all the people just give it a lot of advice around like do more with your time.
Yeah, I would just say the difference between those two would be, and Hormozy falls into somebody that gives a lot of just yap type stuff without a lot of backup on what to do or how to do it. But investing in yourself is scalable. So like I would agree more in the Hormozy route of like, why don't you just go get a regular job and then take that free time and focus on you? Gary Vee wants you to go garage sailing all over the place and like flip stuff on eBay, which is fine, but like how can you go to more garage sales? How can you flip more things? And like, how do you just have the inherent knowledge that that is worth more on eBay than it is at this garage sale?
Yeah.
Without like investing. He's got a lot of free time on his hands.
Yeah.
And a lot of time to prepare for his videos. You know, and then in the world of social media, it's like, oh, look, I went to a garage sale and I found a super ultra rare Pokemon card I got for 50 cents and blah, blah, blah. Now I sold it for $300,000. Look at me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what most of it is.
Yeah.
You're like, cool, I found some old golf clubs nobody wants.
Whenever I watch his videos and I see some of it, though, I look at the time, the gas money, and everything associated with it, and I go, you would just make more money making $20 an hour doing whatever, and then taking that money and like investing in yourself. So I am more of a proponent of Hormozy's advice than Gary Vee's.
I will always
Gary
say
Vee's is also just like, get up and do something.
Here's the advice that really I think most people could take away from. Learn a trade. I know that that's still quasi-popular. I know Mike Rowe was big about that. But if you learn a trade, how many different things have you tried to have done at your house that you would have loved if someone was a little better at?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so, like, at the end of the day, if you're like, man, I don't like what I'm doing right now. I don't like this thing, but I know how to drywall. You're hired. I mean, like, instantly. If you know how to do something and you're good at it and you stand behind your work, shoot, if you're better than average, but you stand behind your work and you'll fix it, you can make money, at least enough to feed yourself while you figure out what to do. I don't know how to like just be like, oh, well, time to hang up the cleats and go back to flipping Pokemon cards on eBay.
Yeah. Well, here's his
new advice.
Yeah. If you're broke.
If you're broke, grab this, go on the bus, sit on the bus like this. Everybody's gonna look at you, be like, yeah, keep laughing. Come home, do it, take a picture, and fucking post it on Facebook Marketplace. $15. Somebody's like, yo, I'll take your table. Ding dong. Yo, hello. Here you go. Sold. And then somebody's gonna say, but damn, it's gonna take 40 minutes to go there, 40 minutes to take on the bus, 5 minutes to post, 7 minutes. I'm gonna be like, but what are you doing with your time anyway?
Yeah, so that's the key part. If you're complaining, but you're sitting there watching hours of Netflix or scrolling on your phone, he just gave you a way to make money outside of your job, in my opinion. But don't steal a table.
Yeah, I mean, 40 minutes to get there, 40 minutes, 5 minutes to post it, 6 months in county for petty theft. Plenty of free time, I guess, to study up and improve yourself. Again, man, I know sort of what he's saying, but he did just tell the world. I don't know how many views that TikTok got, but he told hundreds of thousands of people to go commit petty theft for $15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so don't steal a table. Now, if you find a free table somewhere,
yeah,
and
if you
wanna try to
garage
sell
sale, flip it, whatever, fine. But like, don't go steal a table from a nightclub. Plus, they look like a pretty cheap table. He just picked that thing up, put it on his lap pretty easily. I don't know.
you probably get $15.
You probably could get $15 for it. People are laughing at you like, ha, man, I already heard the cops are coming.
Yeah.
This crackhead stole a table.
Yeah. So again, I understand all these people's advice. I understand Hormozy's and Ryan Fisher's and Gary Vee's and like all these people's advice, but like I feel like their delivery is wrong, but their delivery has to be the way it is because it's social media.
Yeah, but it's like
it has to.
I just don't understand with somebody with their reach, somebody like Gary Vee. Is Gary Vee like the king of brokies? Like why would your viewership, when you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, why would you be giving advice to someone who has to steal a table and sell it on Facebook Marketplace? Like, I don't want to ever be that successful.
Yeah, I think Andy's right. It's like I grind, I hustle, I know what it's like.
I think about making money all the time.
Yeah, I really do. I think it's just like hustle, porn, grind harder, do more. Don't stop. You can always be making more money, that kind of thing.
Why stop at a table? Rob a bank, Gary Vee.
Yeah. Well, yeah, why'd you only grab the table? There's chairs there, too.
There's money behind the cash register. You don't even have to sell that.
Get the whole cash register, empty it out, sell
Take
the cash
a hostage. Yeah,
If
why
they're-
not?
If they're rich enough, you make even more money.
There you
for your
go.
hostage. So,
Hustle.
anyways, all right. Food is trying to rewire your brain. That's probably true.
Big Food just found a way to hack Ozempic, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
doing it in secret. The story is actually crazy. Okay, so there's a food laboratory in Northern California called Matson that is, quote unquote, creating the future of food. It's run by this guy named Justin Shimmick, PhD. So you know he is a smart guy, and he has monetized his intelligence quite well. It says for nearly 50 years, Matson has conceptualized, developed, branded, and scaled hundreds of product lines, and in the process created billions of dollars in revenue for clients. And right now, their clients, Big Food, is asking them to do experiments that will reformulate ingredients so that their food can bypass the effects of Ozempic, Wegovy, and other GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Because from a financial perspective, people on these weight loss drugs are buying less food. Walmart CEO John...
Yeah, so essentially, I saw this one and I was like, this is great. So obviously we know that ultra processed and highly processed, and what even that means, I don't know. I don't know where you go from just regular processed to ultra processed or whatever, but those foods are very addictive. I mean, I don't think anyone probably used to sit down and want to smash an entire bag of like Cheez-Its, but like now that salty sweet combination,
Easy.
whatever's in there,
Crush.
you can do it. And so because so many people are on those semaglutides,
GLP-1 agonists.
GLP-1 agonist, people aren't eating as much,
Right.
and so
It's hurting that
apparently,
bottom dollar.
apparently they've actually seen the effects of
Yeah,
this.
they have. Yeah.
And so now they're trying to essentially put some chemicals in there that bypass that, or make it so if you're on these, you still want to eat.
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Ultra addictive foods, man. Yeah, they're really pushing for them.
Do you think it'll affect people that are not on it, or you think it's only going to like?
I think it's already affecting us.
Yeah.
I mean, just like there's a good I see them posted on Instagram all the time, but it's a slide and it's like, I ate that back in my day, and it's like, no, you didn't. And it's like Gatorade today versus what Gatorade used to be, or pick any different brand, and just the amount of chemicals, the amount of processes that it go through. The main difference, or at least the way I've heard processed versus ultra processed, is anything is a process. You slice some onions, it's a process. And so any person should be able to go home and make a processed food in their home. But in ultra processed food, no person without laboratory access and stuff like that, really nobody has the ability to make it outside of these major food providers. And so short of like our processes here, short of our machinery and our equipment and some of the, top secret stuff I can't say on here, anybody could go make our cookies.
Except for the inclusions that are in them, though.
That's
so
right.
I think that, so I was thinking about that. Even chocolate chips, like that would be impossible to make the way that they're made.
We couldn't make them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess we take ultra processed food and take it through a process to make our cookies, because anything we do here, everyone
That's
can
right.
do.
So like now adding chemicals to, man, one, you know how I feel about the GLP-1 agonists anyways. I'm sure there is room for them in medical treatments, but they are already abused like crazy. Healthcare practitioners are already overprescribing them. We're seeing all kinds of fallout because of it. And so
like gut paralysis, intestine paralysis,
bone loss,
all
kinds of stuff, dude. So it prevents the reuptake of certain minerals. Obviously, it kind of kills your wanting to eat really anything, and so that's kind of affected the bottom line. What's really sad is like big chicken or big eggs, they're not feeling no pinch. It's the ultra snacky processed stuff that these GLP-1s are supposed to, well, really they're treating diabetes, but in theory they're treating overeating and obesity and all kinds of other issues. And so these people now don't want to eat this junk food that got them where they are in the first place. And like, you're going, just hold my beer.
Yeah, I want to make it more.
Yeah, man. That's wild. Speaking of that, man, did you see like Big Soda fighting back? They're trying to push to prevent like food stamps and food aid programs from buying like sugary sodas and junk food. And they put out like a whole blast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're fighting back. RFK Jr. was trying to lead the way on that.
Yeah.
And like literally there's like a high school age girl and this like doctor who are like, they're fabricating flabbergasted.
Yeah.
That like they're getting any pushback at all.
Yeah.
And they're like, what is going on? We're saying they shouldn't be buying like sugary sodas and junk food and snack food. And they're saying like it's, basically against our rights as humans to like choose this, that.
Oh, like what's available and not available on the food stamp program?
That sucks.
Yeah. That's interesting. I actually saw a video the other day where a woman was complaining that they told her they were going to take her off of food stamps if she didn't return her BMW like for $25i or something, like a nicer BMW, not like an entry level. It was a pretty nice BMW, and she was like complaining on the internet about it, and the comments definitely didn't go in her favor.
I bet not.
But she was complaining that she was going to lose her food stamps and some of her government subsidies if she didn't get rid of that car.
It's a touchy subject, man. We're a first world country. I think I know you and I both pay enough in taxes and we're not getting it back. So like there needs to be some help across the board. I don't want to see anybody hungry, especially kids. And I know adults can abuse situations, but yeah, when you see somebody pulling up in luxury, when you see somebody living, all the newest electronics, all the this and that, and then you have free rent, and then you have free food, and then you have free whatever.
Right.
Like, if I had free food and housing, I would have a lot of cool electronics too.
Right. And I think that's where I feel about it, is that it's the abuse of the situation to almost like live well above your means in certain aspects because the government is subsidizing the rest of it. It's like if I didn't have to pay for my rent or at all, man, could you imagine? I mean, that's extra thousands of dollars.
And human nature, right? So like human nature is, even if we're doing the wrong thing and we know it's the wrong thing, we kind of have to project out loud that it's not. It's the right thing. Like I'm doing the right thing. And so like you're only training a new generation of people to think that that's right.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
The great yogurt debate.
I didn't know there was one.
Oh, okay.
Here he is.
Go.
We debating yogurts.
To 0% Greek yogurt over full-fat Greek yogurt. This is 90 calories per serving. This is 160 calories per serving, mainly from fat calories. We want to make this taste as good as this. We can add honey, we can add fruit, we can add protein powder. All of those are only 4 calories per gram. We can add all that stuff to this. It's going to make it taste a lot better for a lot less calories, and you're getting more protein than you would by having the full fat.
So, in my opinion, all this did was this is like back in the day when people demonized carbs.
Yep.
That's like what demonizing fat. Hey, just real quick, Ryan Fisher knows this, but you probably don't. You need fat in your diet. You need probably at least 30% of your calories to come from fat for hormonal and mental functioning. Your body, your brain runs on fat.
That's right. Unless you're on a bunch of gear.
Yeah. Yeah, true. But you still need some kind of fat.
Your joints,
your joints need it. So like you need fat. And so I get it. Yeah, you can go to low fat and fat free everything to cut extra calories. But again, his message is 50% of the message. Some of you need to eat the 5% Greek yogurt because you don't have enough fat in your diet, and you need to not eat the honey, and you need to not eat the fruit.
Right.
And then some of you need to not eat the honey and the fruit, and you also need to eat the fat-free yogurt.
Well, see, this is where I think a better little info clip would have been, those little yogurts that have like the M&Ms on top or something like that? Okay. Hey, guys, instead of eating this, try this with some dark chocolate or whatever, right? Something super helpful. But it's like, dude, if you are eating Fage Greek yogurt, if you're not overweight because you had a scoop of 5% and you're not lean because you eat the 0%.
Right.
It's a series of everything you do throughout the day. And like, yes, okay, now I know we ragged on him for saying eating cherries instead of ice cream or whatever. Maybe that could help some people, right? Instead of eating, it's not a good comparison, but that ain't helpful.
Well, I ragged on that being not a good comparison.
It's not a good comparison.
It's like, I don't know, go tell people to eat Halo Top or one of the other ice cream brands instead of the full fat ones, or tell them instead of eating
portion control.
Well, instead of eating Ben & Jerry's, which has like 19 to 20 grams of fat per serving, eat the Edie Slow Churned, which has 4.5 to 5 grams of fat per serving. Like there are levels to this, and I think that the problem with the general population is they get so confused because they have people like him who are in really great shape giving half advice.
Yep.
And then they go
buy 0% and pour honey in it and have no idea.
Right. Now they're eating 500 extra calories a day in fruit and honey, and they only cut out 50 calories in fat because they went the same amount of yogurt, but now they're dumping a cup of
and they're starving
stuff in there and pouring honey on top.
Yeah, and they're starving.
So yeah, and also fats are satiating. So if that was your breakfast and then you could go all the way till lunch because of that breakfast, then great. But now if you're snacking in the middle because you didn't have enough fats, then that's not good. So
also, let me put you on game. Cabot has 10%. Okay, so 5% is not full fat. 10% is full fat. It's like eating butter. It's delicious.
Yeah, it is. When I ate it, it was like eating like a whipped spread.
Yeah, it's delicious.
So buttery. But no, I think that's my main issue with social media in general is like people give these shock and awe half-truths, and the people that the message should be directed towards didn't learn anything, and then they blindly follow this advice. And I guess I'm fortunate that my dad helped me understand nutrition at a young age because I never really fell for that stuff. But yeah, I guess that's kind of like the frustrating part about this whole situation, you know, is that like people just give mid advice and then people are left.
Well, and what's wild
really
is the only thing that I can think that it would be useful for is like, again, just posturing that you would know what you're talking about. So you sign up for my course or you sign up for my coaching program. But like ChatGPT's taking all that away, man. Just go type into ChatGPT what your meal plan should be. Say how many calories you want to get. Shoot, it'll tell you how to read your macros. So you can just put your weight in there. Say what should my macros be? I want to gain some weight. So ChatGPT's taking all that stuff away. Gemini, the rest of them.
Yeah, that's all. The only difference is that it's going to be a little bit more on you because you got to trial and error it. Because if ChatGPT gives you macros, it doesn't know your RMR. Me and Garrison's RMR is 500 calories difference, right? So, and he does more exercise than me. So if you looked at it, we both probably need about the same amount of calories, even though he's running a lot more than I am because my RMR is so much higher than his. So if you put in there, it may give you calories. What you got to do is do those calories or those macros for 2 weeks and then see what happened. Did you gain weight? Did you lose weight? Did you stay the same? If you stay the same, you know that you're around maintenance. If you gained weight, you know you're in a surplus, and then you kind of.
I think wearables and AI on your phone is going to get rid of all that. I mean, if you just open the Apple Health and you look at all the metrics, have you seen any of that?
Yeah.
They've got blood alcohol levels. They've got all kinds, which means they have something that's going to measure that.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, I think that, DEXA scan, you could also go pay to get some of these scans. I know there's some countries that you pay like $5,000 for and you get the most extensive. It's like a 3-day medical resort where they do all these testing. So that would be a fun thing to do. Let's jump into, is Coke Zero really that bad? Because I don't think it's that bad.
This Coke Zero contains a sweetener named aspartame, which gets broken down into methanol, aspartic acid, and phenylalanine. Some studies try to link these things to cancer, blindness, and seizures, which sounds bad. However, one egg has 10 times more aspartic acid than a Coke Zero. One tomato has 4 times more methanol than a Coke Zero. And a glass of milk has 3 times more phenylalanine than a Coke Zero. Yet nobody's worried about eggs, tomatoes, or milk. There's simply not enough of any of these compounds in a Coke Zero for it to actually be harmful. So if you want to lose fat and stop living in fear of all the bullshit online, you should probably follow me.
So just 2 things. None of those other things have aspartame in them. So we just kind of glossed over that one.
Yeah.
And then 2, its main sweetener is a sulfam and potassium. Diet Coke's main sweetener is aspartame. There may be aspartame in Coke Zero.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
FYI.
I think the whole point of the story, which again, no one actually fact checks these people so they could just like make this up. But I think that coach Eugene Tao did a video too where he broke down all that stuff about how it breaks down your body and other things that have the similar components to them. But the truth is, if you drink 20 sodas a day and then you decide to drink 20 Coke Zeros a day, you will lose weight. Is it good for you to drink 20 times the aspartame? Probably not. But is it better than drinking 20 times that amount of sugar? Probably.
Yeah. Especially in high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, I think that you just got to weigh out all these things in your life. Is drinking a Coke Zero, even every day, going to kill you? I don't think it will kill you. I don't think that will be the reason that you die.
Yeah, agreed. I believe there's a component that hasn't really been studied in the fact that like human biochemistry is very complicated. It's not simple when we start diving into that level. And I believe that when your body tastes something sweet, the same mechanisms start kicking into action.
Yeah.
Whether you're actually releasing insulin, whether you're actually releasing things, I believe it leads to insulin insensitivity. I believe there's a lot of issues. There's just not a lot of good studies because a lot of folks that get studied for any health complications that also drink a lot of diet sodas eat poor diets.
Yeah.
Because of their health complications. And so I think the correlatives aren't always apples to apples. But like, yes, I believe a diet soda is probably better for you than a regular soda. I agree there, especially from a caloric intake standpoint. But I think big food, big science, just like the Ozempic, food people, I think they can change those formulations so fast. I think they can add, subtract, and, I don't know.
Based on what you're saying, too, it's almost like there's not a lot of study on pregnant women or young babies unless they already have an issue.
Yep.
Because, so anytime you're like looking up stuff about if your kid's doing something weird, you're only going to find the worst stuff because there's no one that's like, yeah, we studied 10 healthy babies and this is what we found. They only are they studying them because the baby's got an issue.
Unhealthy, that's right.
I really quick want to jump in the Snow White one because Letty and Aubrey Wynn saw Snow White yesterday. So I just want to see what this is about. So,
Snow White remake is caught in the middle of a culture war. On one end, we have Rachel Zegler, whose casting back in 2021 drew backlash. She later made headlines over her thoughts on the 1937 classic, among other things, including her opposing views on the Israel-Hamas war with her Israeli co-star Gal Gadot. There's also the depiction of the Seven Dwarfs, which was criticized by this Game of Thrones actor before Disney replaced them with CGI. In response, it looks like the movie's premiere will have a limited red carpet, minus the press. What do you think? Will you be watching?
So they went, and Aubrey said, yeah, the CGI wasn't like that great with the dwarfs, but it wasn't terrible. And she's like, honestly, it was like a good movie, and like kind of just like it was nothing that they both said that I would not go see it again in the movie theater, but I would see if it was streaming on a platform. So,
well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I have seen a lot of the controversy. The girl who plays Snow White just had a lot of negative opinions for a Disney star starring in a Disney movie. She had a lot of opinions about the original story, saying that the character was creepy and stalkerish. The guy who comes and saves Snow White from the deep sleep and all that. I know that the original casting did not cast dwarves. They casted full-sized adult humans, and they weren't CGI'd, and there was such backlash there that they CGI'd them into those giant dwarfs or whatever they became.
Right.
Again, man, you have the original source material. We just want to see with our kids the movies we grew up watching.
Just animate it differently or live action.
Make it a live action and make the same story. We want to sing along. We want the songs to be the same. I don't know. I feel like there's reasons people get up in arms about things, but I also feel like, man, we place... we give Hollywood just constantly a microphone to talk about politics and everything else when it's like, we just want you to be Snow White. Just be Snow White.
Yeah.
Snow White didn't have opinions on the Middle East. She didn't have woke opinions on anything. She just,
yeah.
That's all we want.
All right, let's run through the shower thoughts then. Here we go. Yep.
Ever wonder why the word abbreviation is so long?
Yes.
Kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is a really long word.
If you get out of the shower clean, then how does your towel get dirty?
Mildew.
Yeah, also I think that you sometimes pull some of your skin off on the drying process. And stuff like that,
you get out clean, but like you go to hit your skin with the towel. I mean, at least I do. You're scrubbing still.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, yeah, I'm not like patting my arms dry and stuff. I'm scrubbing that dry. So I'm essentially just scrubbing off that layer of skin again. So
yeah, it'd be cool to step out into like a full body dryer though.
Blow dryer, just. I actually heard that the reason that some people smell bad after the showers, they don't dry well enough, and leaving that moisture on your body creates a breeding ground for bacteria, and so.
Well, I can also see that because modern soaps aren't really soaps; they're like detergents, and we're stripping our skin of all bacteria.
Yeah,
and the strongest smelling bacteria are usually the strongest bacteria, and they'll get on there first.
Yeah.
Why is it called a building when it's already built? Shouldn't it be called a built?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Why do they call it a toothbrush?
If we aren't supposed to eat at night, why is there a light in the fridge?
Well, I mean,
for snacks.
Yeah, it's just to be able to see. Period.
Snack time.
Though,
there's a dog in the fridge.
Isn't it weird that we pay more to get front row seats at a concert where we stand the whole time?
Yep.
Well, I've always thought it was weird for venues to like care about where you sit because you're hearing the same thing everyone else is hearing, and you may get to interact with them at the front, but usually it's like you don't have as good of a view or anything. So so you're like looking up.
Well, and
stuff,
it's sad how concerts are today. It's just like this, or like kids like videoing themselves singing along with the music, like lip syncing the music, and it's like, gosh, it's just clouding. You know, I've never cared either. I've went to a handful of concerts, not really my vibe. The overcrowded, overpopulated, just not that I don't know. If anything bad happens, you know, you're getting hurt. Somebody's getting trampled.
Yeah, I took Aubrey to a John Mayer concert because like it's her favorite.
Yeah,
so when we were in Texas, there was a Woodlands one, and I mean he is amazing.
Oh yeah,
you know, on the guitar. But yeah, we were like halfway up, kind of not off to the side. We were like a little bit off to the left, but like. Great view. I mean, you could see everything. It was great. I just don't know. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to be in the nosebleeds, but at the same time, like, what does it matter if I could see what they look like? Right. And that also just if you're gonna sit that far, I'll just watch on TV. But I won't get into that. But yeah.
Have you ever thought about how sandwiches are just bread gloves for your salad?
Bread gloves for your salad. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like, there's a lot of sandwiches that don't have any lettuce on them. You know, like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich or something.
Fire.
So it is funny how all cultures have this thing, right?
Yeah.
We have sandwiches. You got other people have quesadillas or burritos or tacos or you know, gyros. It's like wrapping other stuff into like a carb source. You know, bao buns. Yeah, like all that stuff. So yeah.
Why do we say an alarm is going off when it's actually turning on?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
English language is weird. That's why.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh,
is that it?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, wow. They didn't make us like, comment, and subscribe or something. At
like
the end.
this if you love your
like
parents.
this if you love your dad.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode. As always, you're worth it. Do hard shit.
See ya.